Hello and welcome to Hats Off to Gygax, the baking podcast meets tabletop RPG panel. My name is Nick, and I'm going to be your host today for the final event of TPKCON 2020. Early in February, my friend Malory and I started a baking podcast called Hats Off to Bake Off, an amateur baking podcast, where every episode we discuss the Great British Baking Show, plus we each make our own version of a challenge from the show. It was around that time that I started getting involved here at TPK Roleplay. So when they announced that they were taking suggestions for TPKCon, that's how I came up with this crazy idea. I've invited my co-host Malory, along with Lukalak, Chrissy, and Alt from TPK to do some baking and some role-playing. I've tasked each of them to make a D&D Inspired bake. Whether that's something that reminds you of D&D, is based off of something from the Wizards of the Coast franchise, or even something that they think that a Citizen of Faerûn might be able to make up in their own kitchen. My co-stars today have come up with some fabulous concoctions, plus they'll be talking about their thought process behind the dishes of what they made. This may not be the Great British Baking Show, but they're all star bakers in my eyes. Let's get started quickly by just going around in overlay order with a quick introduction of your name, your baking and cooking experience, and let's say your favorite thing to make in the kitchen.
Oh no. I'm Lukalak. My experience baking, I've only been really baking for about the same amount of time I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons, actually, which is kind of weird now that I think about it. But since 2017, so 3 or 4 years now. And my favorite thing to make in the kitchen, my favorite thing to make is peanut butter toast, but my favorite thing to bake is my grandma's no-bake oatmeal cookies, which is essentially just a tube of oatmeal cookie dough, which you roll up in wax paper and then put in the fridge and slice off and eat in little cookie dough slices. And it's the best thing in the world.
Mallory's already impressed.
I sound so good.
It really, really is. I baked them once and they were probably the best oatmeal cookies I've ever had, but it's nothing compared to just eating the little cold slices of dough.
That sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I am Malory. I am Nick's co-host at Hats Off to Bake Off. And really excited to be here today. I've been baking for a really long time now, but I've learned so much since just starting the podcast. So I feel like I'm actually getting my feet under me, and I feel like I can kind of I know what I'm talking about a little bit more now. And since quarantine started, I started baking sourdough from my own starter, and that has quickly become my absolute favorite thing to make. It takes a little bit of time, takes a little bit of love, but it's so rewarding.
My name's Chrissy, and I've been baking. I was just gonna say I've been baking since I was little. So my dad is a professional, he's a chef. So I kind of got brought up with having my hands in flour and baking. What is my favorite thing to bake though? Right now I'm on a really solid cobbler kick, but I have a very specific rules to my cobbler. So people want to say cobbler has the crunchy topping, and it's not. That's not cobbler. That's a streusel topping.
Crisp,
and
right?
I'm very specific. You're getting it incorrect.
What makes a cobbler a cobbler?
So I guess it's having the covered top. It's the different top on it. Kind of
Gotcha.
it's hard to explain, or a more biscuit topping. I kind of
good.
make drop biscuit topping, and I'm really, I said, I'm kind of messy. I just kind of pull it apart and drop it in there.
That's how a cobbler should be though.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm also super into cookies. I do a lot of different cookies. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey y'all, I'm Malt, here from TPK. I've been baking for maybe 5 years, I gotta say, because I grew up not in America, I grew up in the Dominican Republic, and our oven did not work. So all the sweets we made were like habichuela con dulce, which is like beans and milk and heated milk with a bunch of other like spices, and not really anything with the oven. So baking wasn't really a thing in our household, at least. So it only really started baking a few years ago coming to America. And so far, my favorite thing to bake is probably cookies because cookies are just so easy and portable. You can just, I always chill the dough, so I always have dough there. And if it's like, oh, everybody at home didn't want as many cookies, I can just easily take the dough, put it in the fridge, and then whenever I want a cookie, anybody wants a cookie, I can just drag, drop the cookies over in a cooking sheet,
Any
in a baking
specific
sheet.
kind?
I love chocolate chip cookies, like to the point where it's crazy. I know we already did the chocolate chip cookie episode, but
I was talking about the podcast there. TPK Roleplay has not yet made an episode about chocolate chip cookies, but it will come up someday. Don't you worry.
Mm-hmm. Maybe in a few hours when we do our one shot.
Sorry.
But no, like chocolate chip cookies to me are like probably like the best thing, the best cookie, simply because easy to make. It has chocolate, and I love chocolate. And you can tinker with the recipe. Like my chocolate cookie had cinnamon. I browned the butter and add some nutmeg and cloves. And like, sure, it's not really a traditional chocolate chip cookie, but it's still pretty nice.
This sounds so heavenly. So heavenly. I'll go last because I'm about to go first for the panel part of this little talk. My name is Nick. I'm a co-host of the Hats Off to Bake Off podcast. As I said, I started with TPK a little while ago, but I've been baking for basically my entire life. My mom, who is perfect, and I love her lots, she is a very good cook and a very good baker. It wasn't Christmas if her chocolate chip cookies weren't on the table. But as soon as I first found the Great British Baking Show, I was just like, I'm hooked. I need to bake all the things. And so I came up with the idea for the podcast because I wanted to learn to bake more. And so we've made some ridiculous things and spent all day in the kitchen or, other fun things. So I've been baking my entire life, but really gotten into it since I started the podcast. That's enough about us. Let's talk about the real reason you're here right now is food. Is food. We're talking the bakes that we made. We each made our own. And then we're going to talk about a little bit. I just want to know a little more about what you thought, what you were thinking, how it connects to D&D, all that jazz. So I'm going to start off by my process before you see what I made. I had to make a whole one shot for later on. So I didn't get a lot of chance to do something really extravagant or really interesting. But you all did some really cool stuff. So I'm so excited to get to those soon. I thought of what is the most iconic, most connected with D&D food thing. And it's that almost any adventure might start in a tavern. Every D&D town has to have a tavern. It's where the adventurers meet up. It's where they get their first mission. It's where they meet the mysterious stranger. It's just iconic to D&D. And so I was like, okay, what can I make from a tavern? The problem being a tavern from like Faerûn or like medieval Earth, really. That's kind of where I was putting my tavern, is like that era of Earthworld. Is that they're not even close to a pub. Like they would have had very limited foods, but bread was the key component of a diet back then. And so was beer, or beer at least is important in a D&D game, at least most of my D&D games. Not if you agree. It's kind of key. So I tried two different things. I was going to make what I was hoping to do was sourdough from the yeast in unfiltered beer, because back then they wouldn't have had active dry yeast. They wouldn't have had baking powder or baking soda. So I was like, what can I do that would be a natural yeast? And that did not work out in the slightest. So instead, I went on and made two different types of beer bread. This first one you're seeing right now is a soda bread. So it's not using yeast, but I think this one uses baking powder actually, which rises in the oven because of the activation between an acid and a base in the powder. And it tasted lovely. It's very much not bread and not even close to something you could get in Faerûn. I mean, feel free to chime in. Do you think you could get baking powder in Faerûn?
I was going to talk
Wasn't
about that in my
that
thing.
invented in like
the 1800s.
Yes. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess you could probably find it in Eberron.
Oh, right.
It's probably an expensive import to Faerûn.
I like
I
that.
also feel like the concept of acids and bases, as far as like alchemical practice goes, would have been pretty well known. So maybe there'd be like a magic, you know what I mean? Like some sort of spell or like a magical ingredient that would have created the same effect, even though like not.
Well,
Some alchemist or artificer in Eberron is for sure mastered whatever acid base, whatever is needed for that.
I was thinking about it, and I actually have a little bit right now. I was going to talk about it.
No, if you want to talk about your section,
Yeah.
we'll go into it then, because I have more to talk about in my bit. So wait, you listeners, viewers, whatever we're doing, I'm so used to the podcast format.
The podcast.
Viewers, stick around and we'll hear more from Alt about baking powder in Faerûn, I guess. That sounds exciting. However, this was, I felt like, not quite appropriate. So what I did instead was I made another beer bread, but this time with active dry yeast. I don't know how they would have gotten active dry yeast, but you know, it was usually back then you'd have to basically ferment fruit or some kind of grain to get the yeast, or otherwise, as I said earlier, you would have had sourdough, which was yeast that was in the air or in the flour being fermented over time to create the leavening in a piece of bread. So this is my beer bread that I made. It looked so lovely as a dough, and it looks so good as a bread. Oh my God, I love it so much. It should be, yeah.
That looks so good.
So this was just simple. Basically what I did is I used a bit of beer instead of water. So it was like a cup of beer. And if I had time to really practice this recipe or go into more detail, I would have used some steam to make it a hearty, crustier bread. But I didn't get a chance to do that. I didn't have a whole lot of time this week. I've been in 4 different RPG games this week, which I wouldn't have, I would definitely not. I wanted to be a part of, so I was there for those. I did bake this while I was in the middle of yesterday's TPKCon event, but bread was essential to the laborer or to the just everyman diet because it was cheap and it was easy, and meat was not something you'd get in a tavern, especially if you were poor, if you were lower class. But one fun fact I found while looking this up was that they used to cut up stale bread into basically plates called trenchers that you'd grab the food from whatever platter it was served on, and then whatever sauces would get added to that, and it would soak up all the sauces. If you were a noble, you'd probably give this trencher to the poor out on the street, though I guess you might be able to eat it. It was basically a plate, so I'm not sure how clean that would be. But this is my yeasted beer bread from Ye Olde Tavern. Luca, you're next. So
okay.
Why don't you take it off?
Okay, so I have 2 things that I made. So I'm going to try and just run through them.
I have the dream pastry first, if you want to do that first.
The first thing I made was actually a little while ago for my Curse of Strahd, back before quarantine when we had in real life Dungeons & Dragons. For my Curse of Strahd group, I decided when I knew they were coming into the town of Barovia to actually make the dream pastries that were going to be sold there. And so, you can look up a lot of little hand pies and things like that, but I really wanted it to be as in-world as I could get it. So Barovia has no naturally occurring sunlight. Everything's cloud cover all the time. So I had to look up, I had to look up what even grows there. And so the book actually has some old abandoned apple orchards, which I don't know how they exist. Though fans of the module might actually know there are 3 items in game that could potentially produce them. But apples do not fruit. Apple trees do not fruit in low light. But I made an apple one because it was easy and like I knew how to do that. But then I started like looking, okay, so we're going to have a meat pie. I want like sweet and savory because I was basically going to be role-playing the perfectly, wonderfully nice, definitely innocent, not evil old granny offering these pies that definitely have no negative side effects. And I wanted to offer a multitude. So I made a vegetarian option with it's herb and potato. And I sliced the potatoes really thin and kind of fried them in oil and then put them in with herbs and put that all up into the pastry. And then I did a sausage and apricot, and I did look it up, and apricots can yield in low light.
I'm so
they just
impressed by
don't
the
yield
amounts
as
of research.
Much.
So they'd be little tiny apricots.
Little tiny apricots and kind of rare, but you can cultivate them. And then the other one I did like a sweet summer squash, which honestly just ended up tasting like pumpkin pie. And I was very underwhelmed by that.
Squash pie is so flippin' delicious.
It was great. It was great, but I was expecting something a little more exotic, and it turns out that the sweet options I ended up giving were just apple and pumpkin tasting pies. And it was like, well, okay, you'll enjoy it, but this is not what I was planning. But and then so I did sweet summer squash, apple, and then herb and potato, and sausage and apricot. And the sausage and apricot were honestly some of the most delicious things I've ever eaten. And I found a recipe for them, which was a very strange recipe, and I had to change it. It's one of those where the more you cook, the more you learn to notice things like, oh, that's not how that should be. And it was like, just put the raw sausage and everything just in the pie dough and bake it. And it was like, what?
Mallory is offended by that recipe.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's just one of those things that, like, I think if you didn't have the experience, you would have done that. But I was like, no, and I'm putting pie weights in my little tiny. I got one of those. I ordered special little pan pie tins that are like kind of a shallow half circle.
I can
instead of like
work
muffin.
around to that picture. I think I can bring it up in a second.
Yeah,
they're your little pie pins. Like they look like whoopie pie tins, honestly.
Yeah, and I don't know. I know they have like a little name, but they're specifically like for like little British meat pies.
Well, that's cute.
So they've got like that kind of curved, shallow bottom rather than the deep muffin type of bottom. But it made it a lot easier to like get cooking even in these tiny little. But yeah, so I sauteed up the sausage and the apricot and put pie weights, little white beans, little tiny ones in there, and then assembled them all and cooked the tops. But they turned out really good. Honestly, the apple and pumpkin were my least favorite. The herb and potato and the sausage and apricot were amazing.
That sounds stunning. I'm so impressed.
It was really good. We actually got quite a few people addicted to the dream pastries in game.
Can you, without spoiling it, can you say what the pastries are in the game?
They're wonderful pastries, and they offer you beautiful, sweet dreams. Like, it's basically like a serotonin overdose into in your sleep. Like when you're sleeping, it's just the most wonderful dreams. Every dream you're flying, you're running, like it's just the best feeling, to where you don't really want to wake up. And when you do wake up, you just want more dream pastries and to go back into those dreams. And it becomes a an addiction cycle, and it's actually quite.
I already
nice
feel
mechanic.
this way about my food. Like this is very hitting a little too close to home.
But I mean, they have really wonderful buffs with them, like as long as you're maintaining your addiction. But
that's wild, and I love it so much. Do you want to move on to your other bake you made?
Yeah. So in kind of keeping with the Barovian kind of thing, I was thinking about and it was similar to the tavern stuff. What's something that would be available to kind of everywhere you went? And a lot of times when I think about Barovia, I think about the Scottish Highlands, because it's just the misty, damp moors, rugged terrain, hardly ever any sunlight. It's always slightly cold, and just, it's beautiful, but in a dark, kind of rugged, almost depressing way. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
so I was looking up ancient Scottish Highland cooking and baking, and one of the things that is really prevalent is oats, because oat grows so much better in rugged, unforgiving soil than wheat. So for this, I made, for my second thing, I made pumpkin seed and herb oat cakes, where I basically ground up pumpkin seed and coarsely ground raw oats, and then mixed it with a little bit of rosemary and thyme, and boiled some butter in water to make it kind of like a really hard, firm dough, and then just pressed them out flat and baked them. And then to go on top, I made clotted cream, which was used all the time in Scottish Highlands because it basically preserved the shelf life of cream. So it's like food was always either really bad or really good because you can't keep things, so it's either always going rancid or it's really fresh and delicious because literally just pulled it out of the stream or whatever. But clotted cream was one of the things you could do to preserve, and I've never made it before or tasted it, and it was a really bizarre process. But you basically just pour heavy cream that isn't ultra pasteurized in a very shallow baking dish and set it in the oven on the lowest setting for 12 hours. And I did this last night while I was running the random one-shot. I actually went up and pulled it out of the oven and set it on the counter to cool overnight. And then it comes out and you can kind of peel back the crusty top, and underneath there's a very thin layer on the bottom of just the watery cream, but in the middle and the top is just this thick whipped cream, and you drain out the thin stuff and then mix it all together, and it's like a really decadent light whipped butter flavor. It's
like whipped cream if it were savory.
Yeah, it's so strange because it's almost got a melt on your tongue texture. You don't really feel it, but it's just butter flavor, but the most rich homemade churned butter flavor, and it was really amazing. And I put those on top of the little oat cakes and drizzled it with a little bit of honey, and it was delicious.
That sounds spectacular.
It really was. It was Scottish Highlands, we're on the trail and this is our little day snack because we've got these packed and we've got this clotted cream that keeps and we're good to go.
Malory, were you going to say something?
I really want to try making clotted cream now, and also I want to eat everything that you made so badly.
It was very good. It was very good.
Have any of you ever had clotted cream outside of making it in your own kitchen for some reason?
No. I've always wanted to try it. I've heard it in multiple books and various, different places, but I couldn't picture or imagine necessarily what it looked like until seeing the photos. So in my head, I imagine a custard. I don't know why, a custard texture, but
it's probably similar, just not quite as thick.
Yeah. When I put it, so I don't know if you're supposed to put it in the fridge.
The honey and the clotted cream is on the stream right now. and it looks beautiful. You were saying?
I don't know if you're supposed to put it in the fridge, but I was just packing everything up and put it in the fridge. And when I got it out later, it was actually like a really thick, like frosting consistency. And I spread it on like really thick buttercream frosting consistency, even though the taste was still that like really fresh, savory butter.
At that point, it probably is very similar to butter.
Yeah, probably very similar, but like, I mean, the consistency is a little different, but yeah, it's basically the same at that point. You slow cooked it instead of churned it,
You know how I said it's like butter, like if whipped cream was savory? I just realized that is literally butter. Because to make butter, you just whip cream for a long time.
Right.
So that sounded much better when I first said it. But that's spectacular. I'm so proud of you for making such a ridiculous recipe. But it looks super, super good. Moving on. Malory, do you want to talk about what you made?
Yeah. So I was thinking about this and I feel a little bad now in hindsight, like looking and seeing everything that everybody made, but I took a little bit of a different route rather than baking something. Also, I just want to say I'm like right off of baking a chess set. So like I'm a little burnt out. And for Christmas, my sister got me these like witchy beakers that like sit in this really nice wooden case. And as soon as Nick started talking about D&D bakes or items that would maybe come from Faerûn, I immediately thought about potions, and especially because I use a lot of like herbs in my cooking, and then also I've like grown and harvested and dried calendula to make my own salve. So like this was super on brand for me, I guess. And so I did 3 different potions inspired by different potions that you can get in the like D&D that were in the like D&D 5e potions list, which and so I did potions of healing, potion of heroism, and potions of clairvoyance. And it was actually really fun to try and mess around. And I was reading the descriptions of what these potions sounded like in the like D&D Beyond pages. And clairvoyance was really fun. It's supposed to have an eye. It's a yellow liquid that's supposed to have an eyeball in it that then like disappears when you open the bottle. And so I carved a couple of pieces of apples. And then for the liquid itself, I did a variant on the Corpse Reviver 2 cocktail because it's got absinthe in it. And absinthe has always been associated wrongfully with like hallucinations. And so I thought that would be perfect for a clairvoyant spell to drink this thing that's supposed to make you hallucinate. And then having the eyeballs in there was really fun. And I think worked out really, really well. And then for my potion of heroism, I'm a little less proud of this one. It's supposed to be a blue liquid that is like bubbling and steaming as if it were boiling. In my dream, this has dry ice in it. Like the dream way that I would create this was with dry ice, but I don't even know where you get that or what that process looks like. So I just made it basically I colored it's tequila and grapefruit soda to give it bubbles, which you can't see very well in the photos. So I was like, okay, the bubbles are there, half of it. And for that one, potion of heroism, I always think about like alcohol and like shots specifically being referred to as liquid courage. So I kept it pretty like simple, just like tequila because we had grapefruit soda and I know that goes well. So that one was pretty simple. And then the third one for a potion of healing that is described as like a red liquid. And I immediately thought of fire cider. I don't know if have any of you heard of fire cider before?
This sounds familiar. It's like a cinnamon cider or what?
Kind of. So it's like, especially if you are in any like alternative or like home wellness circles, I know.
So that good witchy stuff.
Good witchy stuff. So it's used a lot to like, if you're like, how do I stop a cold? Or like, I think I'm starting to feel sick. What do I do about it? Fire cider is pretty much always what comes up. And it's basically, and I was looking up sort of the history of it, and it was like started by this pretty famous herbalist in like the 80s. And it's been around for a long time, but it's only sort of started to gain popularity recently. And it's basically apple cider vinegar, of course, that's been steeped with like macerated horseradish, usually garlic and ginger, cinnamon, cayenne, and then you can do different, like throw different herbs or spices in there that have well-known. Usually it's like anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, antibacterial, like different healing properties. And then you let that sit for like 3 to 4 weeks. And at the end of it, you strain it. And then you have this cider that you mix with honey, and that you can take almost as a shot whenever you're starting to feel bad. And it's supposed to like amp up your immune system, and keep you from getting sick. So I was like, this is a potion of healing. Like, I don't have to do anything here. It's already pretty much it. So that was really fun. I didn't do the long version. I did like the short version that you can throw together in a second, which is basically I did all that and mushed it all together and then like put it through a strainer. And I tried it, and it's tastes like all of those things I just said. You know what I mean?
I was to say, did you and your family take some shots?
Well, yeah. So
I made my mom try the Corpse Reviver, and that it has so much. So usually, traditionally, the way that absinthe is used in cocktails is like you like put a little and you like, you know, cover the glass in absinthe and then you dump it out because it's so strong. And Corpse Reviver actually has like, you keep it in there. It's not much, like it was maybe like a quarter of a teaspoon, but it's enough to like make it taste like and feel like you're just drinking absinthe, which was pretty intense. And then the fire cider, I've definitely whipped that up before, so my family knew what it was. And yeah, it's not great, but it tastes like it's good for you, you know. Yeah, as
any good potion should.
Exactly. That's sort of how I felt about it.
You should cringe while you drink it, but then all of a sudden you feel heroic.
Yeah. I did drink it out of
drink it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I drank it out of the little potion beakers that I made it in, and that was really satisfying. And I did feel like I was living my true D&D character / witch life, like just like taking a shot out of a little potion beaker that I wanted. Like I really wanted to have like a pouch that I could like put it back in or like have that experience. But it was really fun, and I don't know. I felt like I was a citizen of Faerûn for a hot second there, so that was fun.
That is spectacular. I'm so proud of you. I did want to give a free shout out to this artist that I think is super, super cool.
Mm-hmm.
If you look on YouTube for Hendo Art or Hendo Drinks, she's this like cosplayer who makes D&D inspired drinks. And when I looked at her stuff, I was so impressed. So check her out if you ever get a chance to. But let's move on to Chrissy and the things you made and the interesting journey you went through to make it.
Yeah. So I guess kind of like the idea behind it was, you know, I call it the Wayfarer's Pie. In my head, I thought, well, there's probably, like we said earlier, a tavern in every town, every city, everywhere you're going to go. And probably behind the bar, there's like, I was thinking of like bar pizza, sort of. Like there's probably something that's been sitting there all day. They made it in the morning. Not going to go bad if it's sitting out, like that kind of idea. So that was like where my head went. And I was going to do like single serving like little hand pies. I thought, well, I'll do those because people stick them in their packets or their pouches and run off to the next adventure. But I tried to get a little bit different with it. And I thought, well, if it's going to be sitting behind like a counter, maybe it would be like an actual pie. So I started doing some research. I'm big into historical reenacting. Like, I think it's really interesting. I like knowing like factual stuff. So I started doing historical kind of like digging on some of this stuff, more like medieval Viking styled foods and things like that. And it seemed like a lot of the pie crusts and things like that were, most of the ones you would find were like hot water crusts. So I was like, oh, well, this gives me like a good excuse to do a Great British Bake Off like theme miserably, bad and terribly. So that's where I went with it. So I made this Wayfarer's Pie. So it was a bunch of vegetables because I figured, you know, mushrooms, things that you would find out in the wild, potatoes, root vegetables were really like all of that stuff, kind of baking them really slowly or boiling them down very slowly in a broth, making it kind of like a thick stew. And then I chose to add some various meats, and I did it a couple of times. I did this bake a couple of times. So the
For
first
a moment,
time,
you thought we had to do it on stream, and I said, no way, no, thank you.
Yeah. So yes, so I was like trying to figure out what I could prep and have like ready and sitting so that I could just like toss things into things. Like I thought this was like for sure in live. Oh, it was so stressful. So the first time I did it, I did some like wild games. So I had some venison cuts and some other stuff, because in my head, I love, in my imagination, I love the idea of being in a D&D setting and we're eating, like, I'm going to use owlbear always as the example, like something that's exotic and different and goofy and funny. And I know it's going to probably taste like rough and terrible, but some hunter probably brought it back after an adventure, and they just don't let things go to waste. So I used some wild game inside of it, and a lot of root vegetables, and a lot of different things that I know you could find for the most part wherever. And then I did the hot water crust, and the hot water crust is basically flour, hot water, like very hot water, and lard. So I used actual lard. I purchased like an actual thing of lard. It's not something I like use often. The trick with this that I thought was really interesting was that you had to do all of this while it was still warm and hot. So you're like rolling out this dough and you're working this dough, and it's in my fingers. I still have like, I know you can't see it, but there's like a little tiny little burn there from where like the crust, the hot water was just like, it was warm. And I like free formed it around, and then I'm like dumping the soup into the center of it and capping it off. It was pretty chaotic. Really kind of bonkers to try to do. It took me altogether, I think the shortest I got it to was 4 hours. So
that
it was
is impressive.
Process. Yeah, so I got it down to 4 hours on my third try. These are the photos, the ones that we're looking at from the second try, I think. So it was tough, but I tried to keep it as historically relevant and kind of just like, very food staple, like this is for sure something you would find somewhere. So while doing my research, what I figured out was that these styles of pies would probably not have been found in taverns at all. Not even remotely. They would have been sitting on a very beautiful hero's feast table. The tops would have been very beautifully decorated. They would have been kind of to show off, I'm so wealthy that I can have this like very wild game pie, and I can have these very fancy ingredients on the inside. So what I assumed would be something very simple and that, people would be making to have, not at all. So
if you don't mind me jumping in, because I did look into this myself too. If you were eating meat back in the medieval era, you were eating literally anything that walked. Any bird, any fish, whatever you could put in pie was put into a pie. But also
R.I.P. passenger pigeons.
Exactly. Like just wild shit. Just wild. But what is also interesting is that when pies like this first started to come out, the crust was basically inedible. You didn't eat the pastry. They were called coffins because they were so unbelievably thick that you would break them open to get at the meat in the filling, and you would throw away or feed the coffins to the poor. Like it was a completely different world.
Yeah, and that was gonna be where I was gonna go with it next. So I'm so glad you touched on it. But that's exactly it. So it was this idea that the outside of it, this thing that I had worked so hard to like make, and I was trying to make it look so nice, they would have just like hacked into it, ate the filling, tossed all of the outside probably into like a bin, and handed it to the house servants for them to have for dinner. So it wasn't at all what I thought it was going to be. But the inside, once it was baked and done, I will say that was probably one of the best things I've ever baked. It was like a wild Indian curry without any sort of Indian spices. It tasted so good. And we ate it for days, obviously, because it was monstrous. It was a monster of a pie. I mean, I'm talking like that.
It looks huge.
And it was like around. So we were eating it for days. But yeah, so that was most of my stuff was historic. So I didn't really find too much D&D related, but in my head it's all related anyways to some degree. So
that's totally valid.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you for making a hot water crust pie, because those things are unbelievably hard. I can't even get a proper pie crust to work, let alone that. So you're one step ahead of me.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't hard to like make it. It was hard to form it. And then I was like using like a tin and then had to remove it. I was trying so hard, and it still looked like a complete monstrosity, but you know.
Hey, this your last photo looks absolutely adorable.
This thing open and you can see the filling inside. That looks definitely like something you would see on a Hero's Feast table for sure.
That's a good way to put it for sure.
Yeah, it was pretty. And it tasted good. So I have to say, like, we ate it for days. So pretty good.
Well, that brings us to the last panelist here. And tell us what you made and what you were thinking.
Well, while I was doing it, I was thinking a way to use magic and how to and making food. Maybe so much not Faerûn, maybe a little bit Eberron or somewhere in between. And I had the thought that, hey, Prestidigitation is a cantrip that any wizard or sorcerer or warlock can have, and lets you flavor food like a cubic thing of food for an hour, and it stays that flavor. So while you can do like very complex flavors, like say, I don't know, cinnamon banana cream pie, but you can do like something like vanilla and then add things to it. So I thought, okay, let me just make a very easy pastry cream, and vanilla pastry cream. It came out fine. That was like the least worrisome thing I had to do. And I was like, okay. And I looked at Christina's Tossi's thing, and I saw these cookie crumbs, and because you guys are talking about Christina's Tossi's, I searched her up. Okay, let me do those, and then I'll cover them with caramel and then put them over chocolate. That way they last a little bit. However, I believe that I always like to chill anytime any cookies that I make. If they use melted butter, I like to chill them. That way the flour has more chance to absorb the melted butter, and that way it doesn't spread like crazy, which happened to me when I make my cookie crumble, which was less crumble and more like discs. And then I decided, well, I'll try to make some honeycomb. I've made honeycomb before. It's really easy. It's just baking soda, water, and sugar and honey. But then while I was baking, I left the sink on, and water just kept on pouring on it on the baking tray because I was too occupied in something else. And I go over and it's like, it would just goop. So I sadly was not able to add that. But so I added a little bit of fruit just so that it would look a little bit better, and so that it's not just one crunchy stuff. But while I was doing my research, I had some thinking about, hey, how logical, how likely is it that people are going to be using baking soda in baking if you're in Faerûn? And you guys might be interested to find out that the first time baking powder was made was in 1843 by Alfred Bird, a British chemist, and he's made a few. He did a lot of vegan stuff because his wife was allergic to yeast, and I believe it was certain fruits. So he was a chemist. He made baking powder, but that was in 1843. How far along do you guys think there's been chemically leavened bread? How long has it been?
Chemically leavened? So you mean like an artificial leavening as opposed to a sourdough?
Mm-hmm. No yeast.
So I'm trying to think if I because I looked into this, I know what I did, And I was like, when was baking soda invented? Because that was invented before baking powder, correct?
Because baking powder is just baking soda and cream or tartar mixed together. Cream or tartar is an acid. So whenever you add water, the baking powder does it by itself without needing an acid like you would with baking soda.
Nick, do you remember this from our episode on leaveners?
I don't. I'm
like
trying to think of when it.
Time.
Oh, when did those come out? I mean, okay, my I don't remember what if Malory said this or what she said, but I'd imagine it was several hundred years earlier. Malory, do you remember what you said?
Honestly, I think is like bringing it back, but I think would have been like, oh, and I'm going to say the wrong thing, but I think it was early. I think it was early like 1800s or I'm going to just say that and let Alt tell me I'm wrong.
Well, if you're thinking about European use of chemical lemon bread, it would be around the 1777.
1700s, okay.
But this is the thing, and we go all the way back to the New World. Native Americans were using potash, which is the early precursor.
Oh, I've heard of that. That's so cool.
Yeah,
okay.
I forgot about potash. Yeah.
Yeah, well, was the early precursor of soda ash, which is just baking soda. And one of the, sadly, a lot of the history for Native Americans has not been passed down for certain reasons that everybody should know. So the earliest I can find was that it's been since 500 years, and in New Mexico, one of the tribes made Piki. Oh, crap, I'm gonna mess that up.
How's it spelled?
It's oh my god. Oh my god! Don't tell me I didn't write this down. Easy. It's called Piki, Piki, and it's made out of blue corn flour, ashes, because potash is made from the ashes of a few different trees like burn and fern, and water. And it was made and it was made 500 years ago. So you can see it so far from 1500s.
So that is so cool.
So it wouldn't have been European medieval times, but they were still doing it at the same exact time.
Earlier. And that's like
earlier.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
200 years earlier. 300 years earlier, sorry. And mind you, that's potash is not as good as soda ash, but the one thing that makes soda ash so easy to make is that you can use, instead of using ashes, because there's only so many trees, so you can't make infinite soda ash, but potash, but soda ash, which is easy to make because it uses an ore called trona, which has sodium carbonate in it. And if you guys know, baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. And trona is found along very much in the U.S. around all the lakes. So I was thinking, hey, if trona, to make sodium bicarbonate, which is just baking soda, you need trona, which is a mineral, and you just gotta put in CO2 gas in it, which can easily be done by burning something. So I had the thought that you can easily make a cantrip and have the necessary ingredients, the necessary material components be trona, a mineral, and some wood to burn.
That's fascinating. I was very concerned you were about to tell us you made this, and I was like, oh gosh, what? But no,
I'd have to go to class and steal a bunch of our lab equipment, so no. But it's honestly, I was reading over, it's honestly would be really easy for somebody in Faerûn or any alchemist to just make soda, to make baking powder and baking soda, because it's just a mineral. And there's all the crazy chemists, all the conjurers and transmuters would probably be pretty easy to find out and make this.
I do hope Kohlrabi gets a chance to watch this because we'll just be getting Echo in the Harper's campaign making baking soda.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, yes.
It'll be great. It'll be so great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's funny because like there's so many times where I hear people saying, "Oh, well, that didn't exist then," and you know, in reference to like D&D, and it's like, hey, what do you mean then? This is a fake world.
Yeah.
The timeline does not line up to Earth. But B, historians love to downplay the past's achievements and act like only recently have we become awesome, because clearly we're the most awesome. But it's like, just because we didn't, I mean, we had batteries as far back as, you know, who knows, like BBC did a really awesome documentary in like the 90s called Ancient Inventions, and like we had birth control pills in Rome. So like it just this whole, what do you mean when it didn't happen back then? Like we've been doing amazing stuff for a long time. That's why we're here now. just didn't recently, like we're just not suddenly the most awesome.
So what is this component part of your I mean, I would give you the fame of coming up with this name, but I think I did suggest it.
It's, you can have all the credit, honestly. I'm horrible with names.
I thought about calling it Creme Prestigiaire as an homage to Creme Patissiere. But what did you actually end up making then? So this is the cookie crumbles, the bananas, and what else?
And the custard. It's pastry cream.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it is Creme Patissiere then.
Yeah, it is.
And that looks heavenly. I love how golden you got it.
Like, don't tell anybody this, but I have about 20 little things of like I use a little bit of, what's the word? The coloring agent, because it's like and I know it's so bad, but you guys,
Gasp, I
was making my custards like, this looks so pale yellow. This does not look good for the camera.
I did it for my potions too. It's okay. These were supposed to be like bright yellow and bright blue, and I was like, I do not have the ingredients.
Those colors don't come in nature very easily.
Yeah, and like I don't have the best quality eggs, you guys, so the egg yolks were not like very golden to make.
It is shocking what a difference a really like fresh egg yolk can do.
Yeah.
Like they're much more orange. It's so good looking.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we had chickens back in the DR, so we always had like very fresh eggs. And I look at these eggs now, I was like, oh my god, why are my scrambled eggs so pale? I don't remember it being this way. Oof.
But that looks stunning, and you basically ate it before you took photos of it. So I'm proud of you for coming back and taking some more.
I had to get because I had some left over because I made little things and I gave it to everybody. It's like, okay, let me get the scraping the bottom of the bowl to get whatever pastry cream I had. Like, okay, here's some more pictures. Hopefully, look better this time. As I'm eating and chowing down, it tastes honestly really good.
It looks stunning. So good job, and good job to all of you, because all of your bakes came out so pretty. You did exactly what I was hoping you would do, and blew my mind. So proud of you. Speaking of being proud, we're going to be back in a few minutes. We're going to take a quick 5-minute intermission, unless anyone else has something to say before we go. When we get back, we'll be playing a D&D one-shot based around baking. So we have some really fun characters coming up real soon. I can't wait to show them to y'all. We will see you in 5 minutes, so stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of Hats Off to Gygax, the baking podcast meets tabletop RPG panel. I've asked the players to create baking or cooking inspired characters. The Rule of Cool is the name of the game, and so they've come up with some simply brilliant characters. We're going to dive right into my adapted version of Accursed Apple Twists by Quickphix Club. Let's get that started. Along the country road up north lies a tiny hamlet called Leith. It's not quite 40 inhabitants, mostly make their living growing fruit. They are particularly proud of their cider, which secured the village a decent income. Their business has been flourishing in recent years thanks to exceptionally good harvests and steady demand. In good times like these, the Leathans are friendly and open-hearted. However, there have been times where the entire village was known for its fickle and calculating inhabitants. Usually, a place like this would never arouse the suspicion of the authorities. However, a few days ago, an agent of the Archmage named Mel mysteriously vanished while transporting an incredibly important magical artifact. The Archmage, Margaret Barathy, has requested your assistance in finding the courier and this artifact. As members of the royal kitchens of the city of Bake-Off, you are all masters of your crafts and are more than capable inside and outside of the kitchen. I'm giving you a little bit of introductory clues of what you're looking for and what your mission is today. The clues thus far are as such. One of the Archmage's Barathy's agents, Suze, wants you to go into Leith as undercover investigators in order to find out what happened to her partner Mel. She has told you the following information. The artifact is known as the Berry Blade. Sorry. Not only is it a chef's knife so sharp that it can cut through a shoe or slice a tomato impossibly thin, but it also contains vast magical potential. Mel was transporting the magical artifact after its yearly sharpening in the forges of Berkshire. She was last seen just outside of Leith by a fellow agent heading in the opposite direction. According to the local patrolling guards, there are no thieves' dens or other criminal organizations known to operate in this part of the region. Suze does not consider the party's mission to be dangerous, but is aware that the small town citizens wouldn't cooperate well with the law enforcement of the capital city of Bake-Off. Mel herself is completely unimpeachable in this matter. She has been in the Archmage's services for years and has carried out jobs with even more expensive cargo before. You are on the road to a small town called Leith. What's a journey like with a bunch of chefs? Whoever wants to speak up first.
We really should stop the cart. I see a little bit of mint growing on the side. It will go so well with some of my pastries.
So you go down to find some locally growing herbs, are you saying?
Yeah, some mints. It was rosemary.
Oh, okay. You now have some small clippings of mint and rosemary. Anyone else?
Yeah, are we walking? Are we in a cart? What are we doing while we're traveling?
I don't know. What do you think? I guess the Archmage would have plenty of resources. You could be traveling by cart, but I imagine you'll have to stop just out of town and walk in the rest of the way.
We'll say that Sal is walking, though he will completely not be paying attention to any side road clipping activities or anything. He is currently a kind of large, heavy-set man with blonde hair and is just chowing down on some jerky that he pulled out of his pack, making very loud, kind of grotesque sound. Oh yes, the flavor in this straight to Flavor Town with this jerky. I mean, I don't know what they did, but like this jerky. Are you wanting to try this? Anyone? Are you wanting to try this? This like the flavors.
Oh my god.
Just while he's walking along the whole time. He has not stopped for like 10 minutes now.
So Sal is exuberant about how delicious this jerky. Was this jerky made in a fine kitchen or perhaps a small town place?
I mean, judging by his
diner or a drive-in or a dive.
It was just a roadside tavern that he found it out. You can hear through all of the sounds, but it tastes like it was made at a fine dining establishment.
These chefs knew what they were doing. Is anyone going to take him up on his offer to try out some of this delicious homemade jerky?
Paul is kind of looking down his beak at it, pretty unconvinced on it.
They're so deep, they're rich. You try this. You got to try it.
Okay. I reach out my hand and I like grab it and I chew on it for a long time. And I'm like, it's overworked.
Oh my God.
Just like I walk away from you a little disappointed.
So you guys will see a kind of funny shaped gnome kind of saddle up. I have like a nice apron on, a little bit high waisted, and I'm using a rolling pin. Extremely large rolling pin, about the size of a quarterstaff, is like a little bit of a walking stick. And she's gonna come up and she's gonna have like, probably some like maybe blood from butchering something and some flour, and she's just gonna be peppered with all sorts of different kitchen things. And she'll just stick her hand into the bag and start pulling at it and make a comment. Oh, yeah, this is pretty good. I feel like it's a little heavy on the seasoning. The flavors are strong.
The seasonings, it's like so many seasonings. It's like a tunnel of seasonings on the way to Flavor Town. Like, and I am there. I am driving there in my car. Like, we are on our way.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, everyone.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm
so happy.
Oh my God. Okay, that sounds about good. So we've got Sal, we've got Paul, we've got Juke, and we've got Quint on their way to a small town called Leaf. You all are very close to the town by now. And in the distance, you can see the town square approaching. So after your uneventful journey, you reach your destination shortly before dawn. The hamlet is nestled between soft hills and surrounded by countless apple groves. As you venture down the road toward the center of town, you notice groups of individuals harvesting apples from the last few rows of apple trees in the orchard. Children are running around while men and women are working up ahead in the town square. As the houses come closer into view, you notice that they seem to be setting up for a big celebration. Vendors from the town's businesses are setting up stalls. There's a long row of tables and benches assembled, and barrels of cider are being rolled in from cellars. The air is rich with the smell of cinnamon and apple twists. Do you venture on inward, adventurers?
Are you picking up these smells right now? Is that cinnamon? Maybe apple. Oh, I'm smelling apple. I'm smelling apple and cinnamon. You guys, we gotta stop here. Do you smell that? We gotta find where this is coming from. There is someone cooking right now with some flavors.
With some flavors.
Yeah, I absolutely am right there, and absolutely with Sal. Just, I am super interested in whatever's happening.
Okie doke. I'm just going to drag you guys up into town so we can get started. The very first...
In our Roll20 DM, we are still seeing just the road.
Oh, no.
Image.
Give me 1 second. Thank you so much for pointing
over.
it out.
Yeah.
It's my first time playing... to the chat, it is my first time playing... game of D&D with TPK Roleplay. So let's hope this is the first of the only error that we get.
No worries, you're doing wonderfully. I was going to watch it all on the stream.
You should hopefully see it now, and you should also now have control of your characters if you like.
It's all right. You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Aw. The very first person you all notice is a tall, thin, and youthful man with long, dark hair. He is wearing a bright outfit and a hat that shadows his face. He is enthusiastically directing folks as they set up tables and stands, games, and decorations. As you approach, a group of children screams and giggles at your arrival and then tears off into one of the fields. This man turns to face you and his smile widens as he sees visitors. Well, hello! Well, come on in, welcome.
Is his name Noel?
Are you going to introduce yourself?
I could. I'd be like, it's nice to meet you. I'm Paul. I can't believe I just had to do this. I believe someone's waiting for us here.
I don't think anyone's waiting for you here, but you've come just at such a great day. We're just about to start the annual harvest, the festival to celebrate another great year of apple harvesting. You're welcome to join us a bit later, but we're still setting things up here. Are you just passing through or plan to stay here and leave?
Sort of like look around to my compatriots, see what everybody's feeling.
Well, I do imagine we're gonna have to stay here for a while. No? You ones who eat around, no? Oh.
Yo, man,
I'm walking right up.
You got
to
something
him.
cooking right now?
I'm sure.
What are these smells that I am smelling? What do you have going on? Show me what you're doing here. Like, show me. I want to see your process for bringing these smells to me. It's amazing. I feel like it's overwhelming my body.
Well, I'm so glad you like what you smell. We're prepping for a beautiful feast for later today. And the key ingredient of the feast is, of course, the Leith Brayburn apples. They are truly, truly delicious. And you're probably, if you smell that pastry cooking in the distance, that's probably James at the Brayburn cooking up some famous Leith Apple Twists. And
I'm definitely interested.
This man stumbles for a second. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't introduce myself. I'm the elected mayor here in Leith, and my name is Noel Fielders.
Knew it.
And he turns to look at a woman you see off to your left, a kind of round, plump, pleasant-looking woman with kind of short blonde hair, and he calls her over, and he says, "Sandy, come over here for a second. We've got some new guests here." And this blonde woman comes to you, small, short, blonde human woman, and she quietly and calmly says, "Oh, well, hello, welcome." And Mayor Fielder says, "I bet you're smelling the apple twists by James over at Sandy here's tavern just down the street back where you came from. I know a lot of the town is probably there having a few drinks before the festival. Why don't you go down and join them while we set things up here?" And
sounds all right by me.
Sandy is carrying a big basket full of vegetables and herbs and plenty of apples because, of course, and she offers to bring you over to the tavern.
Lead the way to this flavor that I just know is there, and you're gonna have to show me what you're doing back in that kitchen. There's some art going on back there. I just know it.
Well,
and while we walk, you also talk to us about this James.
Excuse me, the what's?
This James.
Oh, James. He's just a fellow Leithan citizen like me. We've taken care of this tavern for so long, and I've never left Leith. It's my home now, and I love everything about it. But I love meeting new people, and I I mean, it's just such a great and lovely and wonderful town. And we've been really lucky lately to have some really lovely, wonderful harvests. And where Sandy is bringing you is this small tavern on the edge of town. Next to it is a stable house for some horses, and you can hear the hubbub already from inside the tavern. If you want to give me just a second to set up this next scene.
Sal's going to take just a minute to catch up with everyone because he was just table surfing the layout here and just taking little bits of everything on the table and just shoving it in his mouth. Just, oh, yes, yes. And he will, after seeing you guys walk away, he'll run to catch up a little bit.
Excellent. Players, you should now see that you are here at the Braybird. And Sandy's already walked inside, and you can hear the murmur of people chatting and talking, and you can tell that it's pretty full, that probably most of the town is in this tavern. And I'm going to pop that away. Do you enter inside?
Sal's busting in.
Yeah, Juke will come right behind and probably grab a seat at a table. Kind of close enough to hear people, but not too far.
Sandy welcomes you in and says, "Hello, travelers. Welcome. Everyone, these are some guests here, and the mayor himself has invited them to join us for the Harvest Festival. Why don't you take a seat, and I'll get you some drinks."
What is this guy at this table that I am at?
Let's see, where are you at?
I am Sal's gonna rush in and see a guy who I'm sure is very peacefully trying to enjoy their meal. Just rush up and what do you have here? Like, what is this? Could you tell me what this is? Do you get this a lot? Can you tell me more about this dish? You come here a lot. What is this? Tell me what you're eating here. And he's gonna just reach out and take a little bite and shove it in his mouth, and also put like just an awkward hand right on the patron.
Totally. The patron turns to you and says, "Oh well, my name is Michael. Pleasure to meet you. We don't get a lot of guests here in Leith, but it's always lovely to meet people. James here is just a master in the kitchen. He really is, and just having my simple meal of some soup, a little bit of fish, and I have a hankering for some cheese, so I got some good cheddar here."
Hankering for flavor. You hear that? And he's gonna turn to no one, and just, you hear that? A hankering for flavor. This simple meal, deceptively simple, it is actually just exploding with spices and flavors.
Oh my god.
And he appears to be talking to an unseen audience.
I'm going to try and walk up to the table or try and find, I'm assuming Sandy is taking us directly to James. I want to find James and I want to get an apple twist from his hands or as close as possible.
James is off in the kitchen, and it seems that several of you are just walked into the kitchen, so that's
There's no doors.
So James is over here in the kitchen area, and he seems a bit confused by you walking into the kitchen with him, but he says, welcome. Can I help you guys?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see any doors around here. I thought it was just we could go in, no problem.
Oh, well, I mean, normally people would stay outside by the seating area, but you're welcome to watch.
Well, I have seen some restaurants where the chef cooks in front of you, so I thought maybe this would be.
Oh,
like
that must be one of those new fandangle towns over in Waterdeep. Yeah, we're just but a humble tavern here. I mean, if you want to take a seat, Sandy can definitely serve you if you're looking for
I'll
something
cast
specific.
Pencil Disc and sit in front and while watch him.
You're gonna sit what?
on a tensor's disc.
Oh my god.
Basically a little force like cushion, basically, and I just sit on it and I'm hovering about 2 feet off the air.
So Quint is now hovering in the kitchen.
Sitting legs crossed.
James turns to you and says, "Well, are you chefs yourselves?"
I mean, some will call me that. I use cooking a lot whenever I use my magics or talk with some clients.
Well, that's fascinating. I'm just a countryman myself. I don't have the training of any of you.
I'm gonna put my hands behind my back, like tuck my wings maybe nicely behind me, and work my way. Does he appear to be like he's working? Is he baking anything right now?
Yeah, he's got apples and doughs and breads, and he's also probably cooking all of the meals for everyone in the tavern, as well as some of the goods for this festival later on. So right now you can see he's rolling out some freshly made dough, and he has a couple of bowls of different various fruits and spices around him.
I'm gonna work my way, so I'm kind of behind him and watching what he's doing, and maybe I'll reach a finger, and poke maybe the dough that he's working with, and then step back and maybe and nod.
Look at that gluten.
Yeah.
So you, the large snowy owl with piercing blue eyes, are standing there inspecting his work, and James just keeps on working because he's got a lot to do.
I will see everybody kind of walking towards the kitchen and do the same, but being as small as I am, I want to do some investigating around this man's kitchen, keeping an eye out for our knife or any signs of. So Juke's going to kind of try to maybe just stealth around, behind him, see what he's into, see if she can see anything.
Okay. So if it helps, I want to show you some things from what I mentioned earlier. As I mentioned earlier, you are on a mission looking for Mel, one of the Archmage Margaret's workers. You are looking for the Berry Blade, which is the magical artifact that Mel was carrying. And Mel's gone missing, so you don't know where she is, but...
Real dumb and spelled right.
Excuse me, what?
Berry as in bear. Berry? I don't know why. Don't ask. Berry
Oh, come
blade.
on. The whole stream is just a bunch of puns about people's names.
I know.
So James will look at you, Paul, a little scared to see this big snowy owl looking over his shoulder.
Just really do the eyes lock on, and then look down at the work, and then back up at him.
How do you find? Do you think is he? Actually, I'm. This role play thing. This
role playing game. Do you want me to roll perception or something?
Why don't you roll perception to see if you think he's doing a good job in the kitchen?
That's a. I picked up the horrible McElroy thing of saying dirty 20, but it's a dirty 20.
That's totally fine. That's a normal thing for role players to say.
Okay, great. I wasn't sure. It's my experience.
So you got a dirty 20 of looking at his bakes, and you can tell that this man knows what he's doing. He is perhaps not classically trained. Oh, geez, is it doing the thing again? Oopsie daisy. He's not classically trained, but he has been baking in this kitchen for years. And why is Streamlabs doing this to me now? Give me 1 second.
Browser window you're capturing?
Yeah, it's just I realized I didn't set it up properly. Give me a second.
Okay, it's over.
This lamb is so raw. Mary's still looking for it.
I guess it's not going to be nice to me today. Okay.
If you want to open it in like a different browser window.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
So
I'll leave it as is.
Mess it up. Okay.
Whatever. I'll figure that out next time I stream, I guess. So yes, he does have a exceptionally good dough he's made. It's perfectly proofed, and the blend of spices is spot on.
I'm gonna reach out my hand for a handshake.
Thank you. I think. Yeah. You didn't say your name there. What are you guys doing here?
Well, my name is Paul Holly of the Wood. These are my traveling companions. If you would like to introduce yourselves.
I'm going through his cupboard, so I guess as I'm looking through his cupboard, I'll turn around and kind of take my rolling pin as like a hello. Just checking out your goods, seeing how it's going. You know what they say. Anything without cake is just a meeting. And then I'll just go back to rifling through his stuff to see if I can see any hint of like the blade or Mel.
Did you give your name?
Oh, and I'll tell him my name's Juke. Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you, Juke. Are you also a chef?
I dabble. Yes, I dabble.
Okay. You said you're looking for you're looking for something in these cabinets here?
Yeah, just kind of checking them to see if I can find any hint of our friend Mel or the blade.
Just in case Mel is hiding in a cabinet somewhere.
Hiding somewhere.
Oh, I had a darker image of what could have happened to Mel.
Yeah, I mean, I was going a little darker too, but I mean, that's fine. We're gonna go with hiding first.
Hiding in a cabinet, sliced up in a cabinet. Either way, really. Do you want to make an investigation check for me?
Sure. So that is 15 total.
Okay. You look around. You find some very finely ripe apples. You find some excellent herbs and spices. He has a very, very well sharpened knife. That is not the knife you're looking for. But you also don't see any sign of Mel or her body parts or a magical knife.
Okay.
And you there on the floating disc? Okay. The quiet type, I see. Okay. Well, again, if you need anything, I'm sure that Sandy can help you out in the dining area. Speaking of which, are you still in the dining area?
Yes, Sal is out there harassing the patrons. He is getting down and way too close to them, like inches away from their dishes. And what do you got here? And do you get this often? You got to tell me what do you like best when you come here? Like, and just taking pieces of their food and like shoving it in his face, tasting it, spilling crumbs all over their dishes, and just going and on about the flavors and the depth of the flavors, and yes, and what do you got here? And then he will travel on to the next, like not even really waiting for them to answer, on to the next table, just sampling everyone's food and making really, really over the top noises with each stolen bite. And he'll eventually make his way to the bar where he is again just sampling everything that he can get his hands on, and yes, the flavor is so good. I don't know what you are doing here. This is like magical train straight to Flavortown. Yes.
I'm so glad to hear that a train to Flavortown exists in this universe, or trains at least. Trains exist.
Eberron, yeah, and Eberron.
So Sandy comes over to you, Sal, and starts. And actually, this person here, if I've given him a name, yes, I have. Good. Matt, who's right next to you at the bar, is gonna turn and say, "Wow, you're really so cultured. You know quite a lot about food, don't you?"
Oh, I am just I am a traveler on the road to Flavortown. I am a connoisseur. I am simply a tourist exploring your lands of flavor.
Why don't I get you a drink? Hi, Sandy, why don't you give this gentleman a drink here? And she nods and she runs away to get you a cider that Matt, the guy next to you, has offered to pay for. You find that the villagers here, even as you're running from table to table, testing and tasting, are more than willing to listen to your tales. In return, they're willing to feed you or get you a drink, or they're very kind and welcoming, even if you are a bit ridiculous.
Excellent.
Anyone else? Are you still in the kitchen then?
I'll head back out, and I was going to sit down and order some food at a table, or I'll head to the bar with Sal as well and maybe order some food there.
You have got to try this. You have to try this. And as you shove it, just like getting really close to your face, like, have you, like, just put this in your mouth, let it sit there, let it get to know you. Oh, I can't even.
So Sandy will again grab you a cider and place it next to you, Juke. Over in the kitchen area, I assume Quintus and Paul are still staring and watching.
I think at this point there's probably like I feel like I've judged his character well enough that I'm like, okay, Sandy is probably freer to offer me information should I have questions. And I'll like slowly make my way out, maybe glancing over my shoulder once or twice just to like really put the fear in him. You know?
Do you want to make a quick insight check to see if you trust this man?
Yes, I do. And 14.
That's good enough. Yeah. This man is wholesome. He is just a good baker and a family man, and he's just. I mean, everything he's said so far seems totally down to earth, and he does not seem like the kind of. Nope. What were you saying?
Oh, did we get the impression that so like this is where the apple twists come from, but there are clearly like other taverns in town. So like talking to Sandy, or did Noel like introduce us or make it clear that they were like that this was like the place to go, or are there like
this
multiple?
is like the place to go to get apple twists. They're kind of a James specialty.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, I feel satisfied. I'm gonna walk back out and maybe join my party members at the bar.
Excellent.
I would like to go outside. It was nice talking to you, James. And I would like to go outside and hopefully where nobody can see me cast Detect Magic and walk back.
Detect Magic where?
It's a radius around me. It lasts 10 minutes. So.
Okay. Cool. And so you're going to walk back into the bar then?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Are you joining your fellow adventurers over at the bar with Sandy?
Sure. And just so you know, within 30 feet around me, I feel any magic is not blocked by any amount of wood, a certain amount of wood, or thin sheet of lead. Like medical items.
Yep. So as far as you can tell, let's see. You don't need to roll for that, right?
And by the way, Detect Magic is just like a little like sponge sugar glass eyeglasses that I put on that are obviously like a little bit crookedly made because I don't work with sponge sugar.
And I don't know, has Isomalt made it from Eberron yet?
Everything has.
everything that's modern Eberron is just from Eberron, is what I'm assuming. Chat, let me know if that's wrong. Let's see what you. Is this the one that tells you what school of magic it is too?
Yeah, and if there is any,
I have to look that up though.
I'll link it in the Roll20 chat.
No, I just need to look at what school of magic it is. So throughout most of the bar, you don't see anything. Where is that? Okay. I'll say this. You don't sense basically any magic here at all. However, what you are picking up on is that the apples give off the slightest, tiniest, like, pinch of salt amount of maybe they've been tainted by a little bit of magic. And most likely it would be enchantment magic.
Ooh, interesting. All right.
But, I mean, it doesn't come from any of the people in the bar. But no one at the bar, nothing in the bar seems to be giving you any pings.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Luca Locke seems to be pondering.
I'm actually
Is Sal pondering?
quite a bit at the preponderance of Guy Fieri gifts being posted in TPK's Discord right now.
You started all this, and
I did, and I regret everything.
If someone wants to drop the TPK Discord link, you can all check those out. We've got a lovely Discord community. But Sandy's gonna lean in close to you guys at the bar and say, "So, what brings you here? I can't imagine that 4 famous chefs like you would come to a small town like us. I mean, I can tell from, well, your friend here who's covered in flour, I could assume that you guys are all chefs."
So we smelled the scent of spice and apples wafting, just hitting us in the faces, and we followed that. We followed that on a journey of delicious flavor to find ourselves here, experiencing this with you.
Okay.
And my good sir, the apples that he's been giving me are quite poor compared to these wonderful apples you guys have. So I'm looking for a new provider.
Oh, well, I'm sure that the Lethan apple growers are more than welcome, or would love to have some of their apples sent to you. We've had some really, really amazing, spectacular harvest this year, and we've been doing really well with ourselves. So we've expanded to several more acres just to be able to accommodate the number of orders we've been getting. And so this man behind you, Ian, is going to turn when he hears you talking about apples. He would turn if Roll20 would be polite. There we go. He's going to hear you talking about apples and say, "Oh, Leith has the best apples. Don't even go close to the Arborn growers. Their apples are totally, totally trash."
Ooh, they were the ones that gave me the apples before.
Oh, no. Arborn apples, not any good. You don't want to go to them. And their ciders, don't even get me started. As a cider producer, I can't believe they would sell that garbage to anyone. You know what I bet? I've heard they mix pear juice in with their apple cider to make it seem like it's any good, but that is an atrocity here to us.
I'm gonna have to taste this.
I cannot believe such a thing.
We don't have Arborn ciders here, but Sandy there, I'm sure, has given you some of our Lethan cider. Are you guys partaking?
Has she?
Yes, she's brought over several.
Have I already maybe consumed it?
You tell me. Have you already drank in the entire pitcher?
Oh man, I've been
in between bites
drinking everyone's. Yeah.
She brings you a new flavor of cider, so I do a variety, and that tastes even more stunning.
Stunning.
Give me 1 second. And so another person from... Oh, jeez. Come on. Too many tabs open. Another person over here next to Ian, Liam, turns to you and says, we make a big fuss about Arborn, but some parts are just not quite as successful as we are, and some other farmers from nearby towns just really might not make it this year. There's even the rebellion, and you hear Tamal, who's sitting at the bar with you, say, "Oh, the rebellion. Jeez, that's rough." And the two of them talk about how you don't think the farmers in the other surrounding areas are going to make it, but they've been really lucky to have a good harvest this year. And so,
can they attribute that luck to anything in particular? Like, is there just luck, you think? Good weather, good pollen, or?
Give me a sec.
Clearly, it is the god-level skill of whoever is in that kitchen back there, just slaving away. I'm sure it's like a 12-hour process, just sitting there, cooking over those flavors, developing them, just in those spices, really just bringing in that flavor. It's not luck. It's like skill.
So this man at the end of the bar over here, he's a bit of an older gentleman, and he turns to you and says, "We're really lucky to have Mayor Fielder around here. He's really been a big help in getting us to grow some spectacular trees. Whenever we have an issue or a problem, we go to talk to him, and he's just really, really knowledgeable. We've been lucky to have him around."
That sounds so great. How long has he been mayor here? Is he from this area?
Well, he's been here for about 7 years or so. He probably came to town around then, but he's been such a great help to the town. We couldn't be here without him, I don't think.
DM, can I ask a question? How does Margaret Barathy fit into this? She's an archmage.
Mm-hmm. So
does she know this town? Is she from this town, or she just sent us here because this is where Mel was last seen?
So Bake Off may be a big city nearby, but she is basically one of your bosses, one of the high ups in the civilization. She sent you here to find the artifact and the agent that was lost here. So she doesn't have say in how this town works or goes.
Okay. So it's just because Mel was seen near here last.
Yes.
That we're here. Okay.
Yeah. You're trying to find information about where she might have gone, or if anyone's seen her, or,
Mm-hmm. And imagine Margaret has like 50 Michelin stars, right?
If that were possible, yes.
Sal, you said you wanted to talk to the chef who made all these wonderful pastries. He's right over there. You would like me to introduce you?
Honestly, I've got to talk to the mayor of this town. That's who I really want to talk to.
Okay. So Sandy's gonna turn to you, and she's gonna say, "Oh, well, he's really, really busy right now. Is there something I might be able to help you with? I've known him for as long as he's been here, and he's really a lovely guy."
Yeah, I mean, I mostly just wanted to see how he's managing to run and be mayor of a town that's just got so much flavor in it. But really, I guess, and he's just shoving stuff in his mouth while he talks, and like crumbs are coming out. They're like, we're kind of looking for this person, right? And they were last seen near here. I'm sure they as well were drawn in by just the succulent smells in the air that you guys have got developing here. But have you seen anyone maybe named Mel?
Would you roll me a perception check?
Ooh. I kid you not, I got a natural 20.
That's fine.
First roll.
You notice that as soon as you mention Mel's name, she looks around a bit, and you can tell that name has brought up a little bit of not a panic, but like, you know how a conspiracy theorist might be like, hold on, because not that she knows this person, but she's gonna lean in real close to you and go, I don't know if it's safe to talk about it right now, but I might have some more information about that if you want.
Yeah. No, we can meet up later.
Yeah. Why don't
talk more?
I gotta go feed the horses. Follow my lead and just wait a few minutes, okay? And just
yeah.
I'll meet you outside, okay?
Yeah, maybe some oats or something good like that.
Yeah, totally. And so to cover herself, she is going to take a mug of cider and say, "To a glorious and bountiful harvest to all the citizens of Leith." And all of the citizens behind you cheer and yell and hear, hear, and all that. Do you join in?
I'm grabbing I'm just down in it. Yeah.
Perfect. Lovely.
Big noisy gulps.
Excellent. Anyone else?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
I will not.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Do you cheer, though?
I cheer, yeah. I do
Okay.
not drink. Did we all hear what Sal was talking to her about, Sally?
Do you hear what? Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Or I guess Sandy whispered this to Sal. So, Sal, if you want to share that with your party.
Listen. Come in. Have you? We're gonna go out. She's feeding the horses. We're gonna go back.
Sal, you gotta swallow before you talk, okay?
Yeah, no. We are gonna go back and we're gonna take a look at exactly what she's feeding these horses, like really what she does to develop those oats, and then also she's gonna maybe give us some information about Mel.
Well, we're all being quiet as well. These apples have some magic in them. I imagine they're there to make it seem more tasty.
I don't doubt it. They're magic apples indeed. Just magic apples.
Okay.
Yeah. In
Do we
case you
feel any different after having like joined in the the cheers and the drinking of the cider? Do we notice any sort of just changes in our mood?
How many con checks do I need to make exactly?
Yeah, exactly.
So everyone but
I'm just gonna drop
blanking on his name.
and bon chocolat.
Everyone but Quint has joined in on the partying. The three of you do make some con saves for me.
Yeah. No.
You're drinking alcohol. That's how it goes.
Uh-huh. Got an 8. Please tell me I have a +0.
And natural 20.
Sal doesn't look like he'd have a +0.
So evidently Paul could handle.
Paul's fine. That's very on brand.
Paul can handle his liquor. Sal, however, is looking a little sloshy.
Getting sloppy. Really red in the face, like really sweaty. Just
Juke is a small little French woman, so
She's holding okay. She's a solid 16 right now. She's holding
okay, she can handle her liquor.
Mm-hmm.
But Quint still refuses to join in.
Yeah.
Someone beside you, across the room, is gonna notice that you haven't joined in on the cider, and he's gonna shout, "Oh, please, you gotta try some of the Lethan cider. I promise you, it's truly delicious."
Oh, I'm so sorry, but alcohol really doesn't do well with magic. I'll have my unseen servant taste for me, though. And I open a little bottle, and an unseen servant comes out and starts drinking. He says it's wonderful. Do you hear?
What is your unseen servant? I guess you didn't see it, so I was gonna ask you what it looks like, but you can't.
Well, you can't see him, but you see like an apron going over, and it says like assistant 1, assistant 2, assistant 3, and he's like my 4th one. So it's just like you see just a apron just going around and then just drinks going down invisibly behind it.
Yep. So they seem unaffected, but your unseen servants find the cider delicious.
Oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever tasted. I really must get some of these for my own restaurant.
Of course. I'm sure someone could help you with that. Are you going to follow Sandy outside?
Mm-hmm.
Sal is going out there, and he is going to dip his hand down into the water trough. Just taste the water, like, fresh, clear, good. Little bit of algae, but develops that flavor.
Oh no, I was throwing up. We must go and make sure he's okay, y'all.
Excellent. So, Sal, you're going to notice this first. You feel like the alcohol's really, really hit you. And you're shocked that cider could be that alcoholic, but, it must be some really, really intense cider. And you're just going to feel a bit sleepy. Paul.
Time to boot and rally.
Paul, you're also, as soon as you get outside, you're also going to feel pretty sleepy, and you're gonna collapse first and fall to the ground.
With my natural 20, I'm collapsing first.
This is something unrelated. Sorry. Juke, do you see? How do you respond when Paul falls to the ground?
I'll walk over to him. And I will I'm smaller, so I'll just kind of start shaking to see if he'll wake up.
As you do, you can feel your breath kind of shortening, and you're getting a small headache. You feel a little dizzy, and you too will collapse. Quint, Sal is looking a bit dazed, a bit dizzy. How do you respond?
Oh, I still have my sensors desk behind me. If you want, you can lay down behind me. Ayo, you're looking a little bit not yourself.
I'm good. I am good. I am built. My body is ready to handle these flavors.
I would like to gently 2 fingers push him a little bit.
Sal, you immediately
He's
collapse.
Gonna throw up in his mouth a little bit. Swallow it back down.
Sal, you almost throw up, but instead you collapse. And all 3 of your companions have fallen to the ground, Quint. And Sandy is standing over them with a shovel. And you get... as you're looking over your companions and asking Sal to join you on the disc, you get knocked out as well and fall into a pile. And you are all unconscious for a few hours before you wake up.
Enough for a long rest?
I don't know. Does it count? Before you wake up in a small tavern. Not small. Cavern. You wake up slowly but surely. Let's say Sal.
Flavor.
Sal, you wake up first and shout about flavor, evidently. How do I want to run this? You each slowly wake up in your own time, and you all find yourselves in a small prison cell.
Do we have our weapons on us?
Good question. You do not. All of your weapons are over on this small table over here. Anything that could be construed as a weapon is on the table.
So my grandma's cooking spoon, magic wand is gone too.
Your cooking spoon is on the table. Any other weapons that you guys have? What else do you guys have that are on the table?
A rapier.
I had a meat cleaver.
What about my handy spice pouch? Is that still on my belt?
Yes. Say your spice pouch is on the belt.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check and be like, oh, take out a little pinch of some spices and just snort them, and then put the cap back on.
Oh God.
Yeah, we still got the flavor.
What kind of weapons have they stolen from you, Quint?
I have no weapons, but I do have a little like cheese fondue fork that has like little blue gems on it. That's my arcane focus that I imagine was taken.
Yes. You can see this tall guard who's fiddling with it and looking at the shiny, sparkly gems. And Paul, anything taken from you?
Yeah, I had what I'm assuming was taken mace, dagger, and a shield, which was unfortunately also my holy symbol.
Oh no. Well, they're all on a pile on the table, and this big brutish man walks over to you as he sees you waking up and goes, "Oh, hello there. It seems you've woken up just in time, too."
Just in time for...
"Oh, well, my master will be using you later this evening. It really is quite an honor that he's chosen you."
We cooking something? Tell me, man. You know we're cooking something. Are we cooking something?
I don't rightly know what we're cooking, but whatever it is, I'm sure it's lovely.
Is there any sand around here in the cell?
I'd say the floor of the jail cell is covered in a layer of dust. Just kind of dirt and debris. As it shows in the map, you see some what's it called? You see some bones of other people here.
Oh God, this is not what...
Is there any rose petals or a cricket around?
Rose petals or a cricket? Wow. Unfortunately, there's no rose petals or no cricket.
Is there a key anywhere on him?
Are we chained up, like, or are we just in this cell?
No, you're not chained up.
Gonna be... Okay.
But you are trapped behind a cell.
Hey man, come here. I gotta talk to you about some flavor, some just real good stuff. Come here, and I'm gonna get really close to the bars.
Okay.
Does he approach as well?
Yeah, he's gonna saunter over, but keep a little bit of a distance.
Can I attempt? What I really want is to reach into my Heward's handy spice pouch and pull out pepper and just blow it in his face and reach out and try and grab him and hold on to him and possibly pull him into the bars while he's under attack.
Okay.
Is that possible, DM?
I was just going to say, if I can give her advantage, I would cast Entangle to pull him and attach him to the bar.
Because I don't want him to just, suffer from pepper and run away. We need keys off his belt or something. I'm sure.
Can you tell me what Entangle does?
Entangle is grasping weeds and vines sprout from the ground in a 20-foot square starting from a point within range for the duration. These plants turn the ground in the area into difficult terrain. A creature in the area, when you cast the spell, must succeed on a strength saving throw or be restrained by the entangling plants until the spell ends. A creature restrained by the plants can use its action to make a strength check against your spell save DC. In my head, I'm just attempting to assist her in her pepper spice.
I'm trying to think of how he would do this. Great.
My flavor attack.
He's being attacked by flavor. You're trying to do this kind of secretly, kind of as a surprise.
Yes,
why
it's
don't
like I'm pocket sanding him, but with
you're
pepper.
pocket sanding him? Could you do a sleight of hand check for me?
Oh no. Okay.
Do you want to announce what you rolled?
I rolled a 22.
Damn.
Sleight of hand.
So good. Yes. Yeah, that's gonna work. You're gonna blow some spices, some pepper into his face, and he's gonna grasp at his eyes. And he's making a what check, Chrissy?
For entangle, it is a strength saving throw or be restrained.
Okie doke. Give me 1 sec. He rolled a 21.
Oh yeah, that passes.
So it's
Do
still,
I manage to grab him by the shirt though?
Yeah.
let's say, why don't we do a strength face-off, whatever those are called?
Grapple.
Grapple.
Let's see. Oh no. Okay. Okay.
Oh, God. What did you roll?
Am I just doing straight strength?
Yeah, why not? Just go for it. You can do athletics, or if you can find a way to do
At least with
acrobatically.
athletics, I don't have a negative.
Ooh.
Okay.
A 19
Unfortunately, you didn't get a chance
against
to
your
grab
23.
him. And yes, he did get away. But he is sitting there rubbing his eyes and, oh God, why did you do this? Oh God, what is this?
Oh no.
Your flavor.
I would like to walk forward, throw a scratch at the thing, try to get some
sad.
iron, and I would like to cast Reduce on the door and throw it forward.
Okay. Can you tell me what Reduce does?
The greatest thing about it is that it
Assume
causes
so.
an object to grow in half dimensions. There's going to be half short, half wide, half thick. And Matt, since it's half the way around, it loses all the supports, and that would hopefully fall on top of him.
Well, if it's diminishing by half, it's not going to fall on him, I don't think. But I guess does that have a check? It just works.
It just works.
Lovely. You see as the bars holding up the door and the bars of the cell pull away from the sides of the wall and rip out as they slowly shrink down and collapse next to you. And you've made it out of the cell. However, you do have an angry man with tears in his eyes, shocked to see you again.
Oh.
Is it
Can I
easy
go
for us to
over
grab our
and
stuff?
like give him a hand and like help him up and do like a big pat on the back?
Pardon me? You said something, Malory?
Oh, is it easy for us? You said that our stuff was on the table right outside. Is that the one that I can see here? Or?
It is. If you do try to go for it, he's going to attack you.
I mean, fair.
Are you going to go run for it then?
I think I am. Yeah. Do you want me to make a check?
No, but I will ask you all to roll for initiative then.
Yeah, I figured
Dang
that
it,
was
I was gonna help
coming.
him up. Okay, well that's not gonna work. What table? This table right here is where all our stuff is?
Yes.
Okay.
You can also see just beyond him that there is some kind of altar there with various random candles and whatnot, but
Super chill altar of chillness.
Yeah.
Yeah, not suspicious whatsoever.
Juke, these vines are really hard to traverse. Would you mind?
14 initiative for me.
14.
I will drop entangle so everyone can get through.
Oh, good. Very good.
Nice.
You did 17 for initiative.
Did you say 17?
Yeah.
Oh my god. She's a speedy one.
Apparently.
I got 16.
Damn. Cool. And it looks like Quint, you got a 21.
Mm-hmm. I will walk forward, get my little cheese fork, and I'm gonna look at the ground, look up at the sky, and point down, and a bonfire is gonna appear on him with a little poker stick.
Doesn't
And
bonfire only work if it's not being worn or carried? Or is it just like fire?
it's just on the ground where you can see.
So you're lighting a fire underneath him.
Yeah, like legit,
roast that meat.
Like you legit campfire, and right between his legs is like a little, a very big, I don't know, spindle, spork. What do you guys call it? Where you put the like pigs on and you turn it around?
A spit.
Rotisserie?
A
spit? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god, what? This took a much darker turn than I was expecting. First, Mel being chopped up, and now this? Okay.
It's magic. I can't control it. It's a spell. I usually use this magic in order to cook. I'm sorry. It's gonna make a deck save.
He's gonna make a deck save. Sounds good to me. He is not good at that. He rolled a 9 to evade your spit of fire.
Oh, too bad he doesn't. He trips over it because he takes 6 points of fire damage.
Okay.
And that's it.
I forgot the one thing I forgot to do. Oh, wait, no, I can do it in roll 20. Haha. Cool. It looks like Juke is up next.
All right. So she's going to walk over and pick up her items as well. Can she make that movement with like past him without an attack of opportunity?
I mean, if you're gonna walk the long way, I guess you could. Sure. We said we were fine for Quinn, so I guess we'll say it's fine for you.
Okay. All right. I'll walk the long way.
He's still struggling to get the pepper out of his eyes.
And the fire out underneath him. So
evidently.
I'll pick up my cleaver and kind of do like a knife swishing and stick it back in and pick up my rolling pin. And then I will and I'm using some artistic freedom here, but
please do.
I'm gonna use one of my wild shapes. And I'm not gonna transform into anything too crazy, but I'm gonna change into a little Italian man, and I'm gonna go BAM! And I'm gonna hit him with my rolling pin, a la Emerald Lagasse. And it's a quarterstaff attack, technically, I think.
I love it. It's so amazing. I love it so much. Roll to attack.
A 15?
A 15 does hit.
All right.
So he is crying from pepper. He is being roasted alive, and now you've smacked him up the side of the head.
Gotta tenderize the meat.
Just getting a good tender. 5 points of bludgeoning.
Oof. Okay.
We have applied pepper seasoning. We are tenderizing the meat and roasting him. Like, we know what we're doing.
Yeah. A bit out of line. Usually you tenderize the meat before cooking.
You gotta get things preheating.
I guess I move up into melee with him too.
Yeah. That means Paul, you're up next.
So I think I'm gonna try and run around. I'm a little closer, I think, to where things were. So I'm going to stay here over by the table, grab really specifically my sword, my mace, and then I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt. So flash of light streaks towards him, and I am going to make a ranged spell attack. I'm walking myself through this because I've never been a cleric before.
No worries.
Let's see. And that is a 10 to hit.
Sorry.
Bummer.
As you're launching yourself over the table, you grab your items and try to aim at him, and you just miss by a few inches.
Oof.
And it blasts into the side of the wall there. That brings up our good friend Sal. You've seasoned him. You're cooking him. What's next?
Come on, Sal, take him to Flavor Town.
It's like a bonus action. I can create a treat. But okay, I'll attempt.
You can make a what?
I can, as part of my celebrity chef, College of Flavor background and everything, I could just bonus action make a treat on the fly, just pop it in my mouth, and it counts as like a kind of bardic inspiration that I can give to anyone. But anyways, listen, I'm gonna go up and just attempt to just punch him.
Okay, cool. Make an unarmed attack, I guess.
A 5 to hit.
I guess that cider has really brought you down a bit. You feel a bit dazed from being unconscious and just completely miss him. Just straight to the side of the face. He doesn't even have to move to get out of the way. Unfortunately, that does mean it's his turn. He is in a bonfire, I guess. Does he have to do anything about that, Quinn?
No, he only has to keep on making saves if he stays surrounded. So if he moves out.
Okay, yeah. That does mean he's gonna get an attack of opportunity from you, Sal, if you want to try to as he's trying to escape you, he's gonna try to walk away and get out of the fire. Do you want to make your attack of opportunity, Sal?
Sure, I'll use one of those very long, I will use one of those forks that only have two things, and it's very long. I think.
Oh, this is Sal, not Quinn.
Oh crap, not me.
He's
Sorry.
walking away from you.
He's walking away from me. Yeah, I don't have a weapon, but I'll try again.
Okay. Oh no.
The 6 to hit.
You're evidently
sweating. Just look at a mess hit. Tries to walk away, swing wildly again.
You do miss, and he is angry now. And so let me bring up his character sheet. He has a mace attached on the stool over here, and he's gonna pick it up as he goes by and attack you back, Sal, for trying to punch him twice, even if both times you were unsuccessful.
Roll 20. I thought the curse was broken because it was so nice to me last
night,
I
think the curse is definitely still here. He rolls a 21 to hit.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Sal's going down.
I did it wrong. Hold on. He's going to hit you for 9 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oh, oh. Bitter, horrible.
How does Sal look right now?
He looks like he's at about a 9 out of an 18.
Yep. Thank you.
I like that you went for 9 out of 18 instead of 5 out of 10. Okay. Thankfully, it's Quint's turn now to go get back your dinner.
Yeah, I would like to go over here, and I would like to cast Sleep and over here, hopefully not hitting my party members. So I just take like I take one of my little globes that I have and throw it at his face, and cider explodes, and let's see if he falls asleep.
A magnanimous dispensation.
Does he have 25 hit points?
Does he have 25 hit points? He has less than 25
lower.
hit points.
So he falls asleep.
Yes,
Dang,
thank you,
look at
Tyrant
that.
for healing Sal. The best flavor.
So you're taking regain some
2d4.
flavor, Sal.
So
You're taking
4
2d.
on my first one. Yes.
Yeah.
2. So Sal, while he's struggling around, he's just gonna reach into his pouch and snort some more flavor and get 6 points of healing back.
We're gonna get sued for libel. You telling everyone that this man
The
who definitely
snorting
isn't
spices.
If it definitely is not
They're just
based on
smelling
anyone.
salts. This is fine.
Smelling salts are still drugs, I'm pretty sure.
They're like wake up. Like I think
Just
they're yeah.
oregano, Mom.
It's just sugar.
Evidently, Quint also has +2 to a savor check in the future.
Ooh.
Thank you, chat. That means that you guys are out of initiative order because he has fallen asleep, and he does so by falling straight on his face in the sand halfway into the cell.
Are there manacles? Do he have any keys to them? Or what does he have on him?
He has the keys to your cell that are now too large to fit you, but unfortunately, he doesn't have anything else on him. He has the mace, which is
I think
a weapon,
I
not
have
the
rope.
spice.
I have rope in my kit. We can tie him up that way.
Oh, if you'd be so kind, I will feel so bad to kill this poor man. He's obviously not all there.
How long does he sleep for?
A minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we should do this quickly.
And I'll take his
I'll-
clothes off as well.
Does he have anything edible on him?
Anything edible on him? You can see that there is some, like a plate of like crackers and some apples and.
I'm just gonna grab that. I'm just gonna start taking bites, testing
You
everything.
can also see that
gotta flavor
he
test.
has an empty mug of beer that is completely empty. Empty mug of beer that's empty.
Shame.
Shocking. And a plate of what looks like some feed from a feast. Food from a feast. Wow. My brain is not working right now.
I'm testing all of it for flavor.
It's spectacularly delicious. It's really, really
Of course it
good.
is.
The seasoning is perfect. There's not too much salt.
While they're like tying him up and getting ready, can I check out that altar that was at the other end of the room just to see?
Totally.
Like, I've got some sort of religion knowledge, wanting to see like maybe what we're dealing with here.
Yeah. Do you want to roll a religion check for me?
I would love to roll a religion check for you. Natural 20.
Damn, look at you.
I'm very new to Roll20, so I'm literally, you know how you can like Google roll a d20, like that's what I'm doing right now, and it's been working really well, except for my big miss, but you know.
Cool. So you're gonna look up this little altar here. As I said, there's some burnt out candles and a few other random bits and bobs, some leaves and twigs and some, an apple core. And what's more interesting is right in front of the altar, there seems to be like a twisting pattern, like it spreads out at the bottom and comes together in a swirling trunk, you might say, and a big spray at the top of twisting and curling patterns. And what you can tell with a 20 is that it looks like an apple tree. And right in the center, there is a little emblem that looks like the whole thing kind of condensed. It's a swirling vortex kind of pattern.
And do I recognize like what god or deity this may be associated with at all?
You don't recognize
that
it
would
as
like give me
a
some
specific deity. You can tell from the periphery, the images in the tapestry, that there's just it's like dark and stormy on the tapestry, and this apple tree is sitting directly in the middle of the night. But you can't recognize a god or a specific entity. No, you don't.
Cool.
You don't recognize it as far as you know.
Alrighty, we ready to bust out of here?
Yeah, I would like to take this man's clothes and I will do a minor illusion on myself to cover me, and I would like to change into him and put on his clothes.
Oh, interesting.
There's apples growing on that tree.
There's pictures of apples growing on the tree. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were describing an actual tree. I can't
see
up into this next room, so like I was wondering. Okay.
No, this is the tapestry in front of the altar that you should be able to see.
Oh, okay, okay.
And there's a picture of what looked like a twisting, curling apple tree.
Okay.
You're gonna go venture out into the hallway.
Next room, then, yeah.
As you venture out, you see that there is a hallway. One way leads off to the left, one off to the right. It's dark and there's no windows, and there's a couple of torches on the walls, but not much else.
Do I detect any hint of flavor from one direction or the other?
You do. I guess I should have made you roll or something, but who cares about rules? You do smell something earthy. Something it's very hard to smell. Actually, no, it is hard. Well, whatever. If you could roll a perception for me, we'll do it the proper D&D way.
I got a +2. I'm not using Roll20 anymore. 14, so 16.
That's good enough, I'd say. You can smell something. It's a dank and disgusting. It's wet and dark in here, and over the stench of this cavern here, you can smell something fresh, something earthy, and you can smell the apple twists that you smelled earlier, faintly off to your left.
Getting like something nasty, like not like a good smell, though. Like I can't stop like smelling it, but I'm also getting like apple and like cinnamon, something twisted up in there. I say we go left.
I mean, cinnamon is usually twisted.
And
I'll agree with a left turn.
The adventurers party off. The party travels off to the east. And if I can do this right.
Oh no, I got a peek of what's happening on the stream.
Oh no, don't look at that. Oh, I didn't think this through. Can I fix this before anyone else notices anything?
Nope.
Hold on. I got this. Don't look.
It's okay, I took off my glasses. I can see nothing.
No, I'm peeking.
Just do the same thing I did last time. Just cover it up.
Avert your eyes.
Don't pay no attention to the man behind the roof. Oh no, there we go. Good enough. God damn it, Nick. I was doing so well too.
If it weren't for these meddling kids.
Something like that. You're gonna notice off to your left, and again, I didn't plan this well, so the stream can't see it very well. Oh no! Come on, Roll20. Why are you like this? You're gonna see off to your left. There is what looks like an exit off into the woods. However, unfortunately, there is a portcullis blocking your path, and you cannot get past it.
Continue on towards the flavor.
Hey, Quint, would you mind making me a quick perception check?
Sure.
And DM, while he's doing that, I'm gonna time check.
What
on the session?
On the stream? We're getting very near the end, and I'm trying my best to finish it in the next half hour.
No worries.
17.
You're doing well by just following along what I'm asking you to do, so it's great. You rolled a what?
17.
A 17, great. You notice that this portcullis is big and heavy and could not possibly be moved, but you notice that there is cables that run up and out and back behind you, past the wall to your right, into the area that you didn't see. And you think that might be controlling the door. If we move on, again, if Roll20 wants to behave, Roll20 never behaves, let's be honest.
Yeah, you gotta slap it a little bit.
You travel along this pathway until you find a small door. I shouldn't have come. Whatever. This is why you do a stream before you try it. Anyway, you find a small door, and if you push it open, you find yourself in a dark, unlit room with a bunch of large sarcophagi.
Are any interesting smells of flavor coming from this room?
I'm not sure if any flavor is coming from this room. There is certainly a stench.
Ugh. Nothing great developing in there, I gotta say. Just rank, just foul, just not great. This is not where the flavor is.
You don't like fermentation? I mean, that's what's happening.
Okay, Brad Leone.
This is TPK's fermentation station.
It's alive. It's undead with Brad Leone.
It's unlive.
Unlive.
It once was live, but it is no longer.
It is now undead.
So you're not going to investigate the room at all. You're going to head down the hallway. That's fine. You're gonna come across a big, large stone door. And Paul, you're going to notice that on the door is the same emblem you saw previously in the prison cell chamber. A big, twisting apple tree. However, this time the emblem in the center is missing. And it's like right on the crest of the two doors, right in the split, that you don't see anything there. You also do see a couple of torches hanging on the wall, or spots where there would have been torches, in a big, big old stone dusty door.
So when you say the emblem is missing from the middle,
it looks like there's a hole in the door, like something could be put in place there.
Is that so? When I was looking above the altar, that was a very 2D thing. It didn't look like the emblem could be removed from that, right? Just to clarify.
Correct.
That I couldn't
was
just like run back and grab a thing.
in the tapestry you saw.
Really? Okay. So we're like, this is technically the hallway that we would have been down if we went right, correct? So I could like hustle back, theoretically, to the altar.
Totally.
Does it smell like the flavor's coming from here?
No, the flavor you smelt coming from the portcullis that you couldn't get through, unfortunately.
I'm lost in a dungeon of no flavor.
Could I? Would this be this door? Could I minimize it like I did earlier? Do I think I could?
You can certainly try.
Well, unless we y'all know a way to go in, I can do my little trick I did earlier. Y'all have any ideas?
Yeah, I guess rather that happen. I also can find traps if we're worried about that. I'm a little nervous because cult door.
Well, I would be
knocked?
nervous. Why haven't you been looking for traps beforehand? We could have been always dead.
Yeah, well, those second level spell slots, so gotta preserve them. Save them to the end. Save them till when you're trapped in a dungeon and can't get out.
What do you mean? You use them for flavor, like I did, Quint. Sal, if you would like to go knock, you feel free.
Listen, it is either that or we sit down here and we have ourselves 45 pounds of food and 30 gallons of water worth of a snack because this dungeon has no flavor.
I believe the way to go to.
Yeah, Sal's gonna turn and start pounding on the door.
You don't hear anything back? Nothing?
Okay.
No one responds.
I want to run back to the tapestry above the altar in the other room.
Okay.
And just because you said there was something that I could interact with, see if the emblem or the 2D you were mentioning.
It wasn't that there is something in that tapestry that you could take, but you did see that there is a emblem there that is missing on the door.
Gotcha. Okay. Run back. Do you want to try? I guess minimize might be what's best way forward.
Did we search him for keys?
Yeah, there was only the keys to the door out of the chamber there and the key to the cell.
But the missing emblem is on the altar by the tapestry?
You can see it in the tapestry woven in, but there's nothing to take.
I see.
Yeah, I had the same thought.
And we don't want to check and see if it's in that other room? I mean, I'm okay with not. I'm just saying we didn't even
room,
go
and
into that
I am telling you, there is no good flavor in there.
Maybe the dehydrators will have one of those emblems.
Did you call the sarcophagi dehydrators?
Yes. I will go over here and start opening the things.
Do you, what if I just tried to thunder this door open?
Sure. Tell us how it goes.
All right. I am going to cast it at second level, Thunderwave.
Okay.
What kind of resistance does this stone door have?
Well, actually, what's going to happen is you're going to cast Thunderwave on the door, and it's going to seep into the crack between the door, and the door is going to open.
I have found the flavor of this door.
Excellent. As soon as the door cracks open, Paul and Sal, you're gonna hear someone doing some chanting. Someone's been working on some kind of spell, and you just hear this as you start to enter. Where are the other two? Did you guys?
Sir, I was walking forward. I didn't hear anybody say that it worked. So I'm still at
You could have heard me yelling, I have found the flavor of this door. I don't know if that was very clear.
Yeah, Sal would always be yelling. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Sal is always turned up to 11.
Yep.
I would have probably backtracked when I heard him start yelling.
I am hearing some strange cooking going on in this room.
So this room that you will see in a moment, and definitely didn't see on the stream before, I don't know what you're talking about, is a large circular chamber with plenty of magical incantations drawn on the ground, and across from you see a man who is tall and thin and is wearing ceremonial robes of red and green. And this man looks at you and says, "You are too late."
Is the food gone?
The
Are
food.
the flavors gone?
The food is not gone, but the food is just arriving.
Thank God.
You hear him finish the end of his chanting, and he says, "Mala sexequi sakara cinnamona et kana cavera." And then
am I allowed to interrupt this, or is this?
This is what's it called? A moment.
This is a moment.
This is a narrative moment and cannot be
This is a narrative
interrupted.
moment. I can't like get in there before he finishes his chanting. And, like,
vel frigidum era morta para servi. And as he says this, out of the ground comes a monstrous beast, which I will show you right now. Oh, it's small. It's bigger than that, I promise. It is
a strawberry.
It is a monstrous beast, and the earth cracks open, and a vortex slips out from underneath, and out crawls a monstrous, rotten apple. And the man pulls back his cloak and reveals that it is in fact Noel Fielder. This time he looks dark and tired and exhausted, and his face is covered in wrinkles. And he says, at last, destroy them."
I'm imagining Noel Fielding.
I was gonna pull out a tasting spoon, like, all right, this is what I am talking about. Looks like some good flavors you've got going on here.
As you say that, the monster's gonna turn around and spy Fielder, and he's gonna take him and swallow him in one bite before turning back around to you and growling.
Okay.
The food is eating the food. Can you think it's like a turducken, man? The flavors wrapped up in this. Can you even imagine? I have got to get me a taste of this beast.
Please roll initiative.
Okay. Also, I'm imagining that Noel Fielding, or Noel, whatever his fake Noel Fielding name is, now looks more like his character Richmond from the IT Crowd. I don't know.
Yes, you are 100% correct. Well, actually,
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically what he looks like.
Okay, rad. Cool, thank you.
You didn't get this far, but the guard that was in the chamber with you, his name was Richmond. You just didn't ask it.
Oh, bummer. Well, you know, he did lock us up. So
I mean, yeah, that's valid.
Formalities were.
So let me know how you rolled, or if you want to, you should be able to go and change your own.
I got a 21.
Love it.
19.
12.
We got a 12 from Quint. You got a 19 from Juke.
I got a 5.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Let's see how the Apple of Discord went. Let's just be fine. Give me some proper battle music going on, I guess. And roll initiative. Okay. I believe that's going to put Sal going up first, shockingly.
Diving in with his rapier in one hand and his tasting spoon in the other. And Tony, for you, he's going to say, "This is gangsta." And he's going to just go in and try and start to slice this tomato so that he can get a taste.
Okie doke.
And I am going to attack with my rapier.
Oh no.
5 to hit.
A 5 does not hit.
Oh, I forgot. I'm not allowed to roll on Roll20 anymore.
Yeah. The curse.
The curse persists.
Alas, how do you miss the apple of discord?
I think I'm so busy thinking about getting a taste of this tomato creature, turducken, and getting a really close-up look at it, just hungering it down into my mouth, that I just barely kind of half-ass swing on the rapier.
You're so enthralled by such a fascinating food.
I'm so anxious about getting this flavor into my mouth that I fumble the attack.
That's a shame. It's okay, but Juke is here to help save the day, I'm sure.
But bonus action.
Oh.
I am going to bardically inspire Juke and be like, get that flavor, get the taste. And you can now 6 to ability check, attack, roll, or save.
All right.
Of course, I roll max on my.
Yeah, I was just gonna say thanks, man. That's
Never
great.
again roll 20.
So Juke is gonna see what's happening. She's back in Juke form, so she will go ahead and wild shape again. Only this time she's going to take, again, not too crazy of a different form, but a different form nonetheless of kind of ruggedly handsome middle-aged man. And I'm going to yell, "What are you, an idiot sandwich?" And then I'm going to go running forward.
You happy, Tony? You happy?
Smack it with my rolling pin.
Love it. Go for it.
And that's 14 plus 2, 14, 15, 16 to hit.
You get a good old whack on him.
Well, say your applesauce is garbage.
Ooh.
And then a d6, so that is 4 points of damage, bludgeoning damage.
Awesome. I just realized that my epic battle music did not loop, and it makes me very sad. Let's get that going again. Juke, is that the end of your turn?
Let me see real quick. And that's it.
No worries. It is Quint's turn next.
I would like to take one of my spell orbs and throw it at him, and it's gonna, a burst of honey is gonna go around in a 20-foot square. I'm gonna cast web, but reflavoring as honey.
You're gonna cast what as honey?
Web, but it's more.
I love it. How'd it go? Do I need to roll something as a
dex save?
Dex save? Perfect.
Wait a second. I think it is. Yeah, dex 14.
Okay. He rolled a 14, so that beats it, right?
Yeah, beats it.
Well, you cast this honey straight out into the air, and it doesn't seem to affect him at all. He seems to love it. It sweetens his flavor. Which I should mention, this monster brings with it the rotting smell of death, of failed harvests and rotten fruits. The smell is overpowering.
That is not money.
It's been fermented a little bit too long.
He is going to sink one of his tendrils into the earth and leech using an apple a day to gain back some health.
That's good.
That is good. That is great.
Oh, nope, go away. And as he does this, he is going to shoot another tendril at Juke. Cool. That's 5 to hit. That's a 12 to hit Juke. Does he succeed?
Unsuccessful.
Well, great, because a tendril reaches out towards Juke and slams down and misses her, meaning that it's now Paul's turn.
I'm gonna try this whole guiding bolt thing again. All right, that'll be a 14 to hit.
That hits.
Oh, okay, rad. So let's see. All right, so the apple is gonna take 14 radiant damage.
Holy shit. Wow. Love it.
And any attacks made against it before the end of my next turn have advantage because it's now glittering with radiant. I'm gonna say it looks more like flour. My goddess Shantea, and so like wheat and bread is Paul's thing. So it looks like I've just like thrown some glittery flour dust on it.
A poof of white powder fills the room and clings to his disgusting, rotting flesh. Yes. Sal, how you doing?
We're good. I am going to use my last second level slot here, and I'm gonna cast Thunderwave at him.
Lovely.
Be like, we need to just charge up this flavor, which just really make it boom, and then cast that. So he needs to make con save.
Will do. It's a 10 con save. Does he succeed?
He does not. So
Lovely.
He's going to be pushed 10 feet back, and then take 11 thunder damage.
Great. He is not looking great. Parts of his tendrils are falling to the ground. He is no longer over the portal, and so he screeches in pain. But that means it's Juke's turn to get in on the action. Oh,
bonus action, though? Yeah, bonus action. I'm going to be like, we got this flavor, man. Over to Quint. And so go ahead. 1. Sorry. You get 1 bardic inspiration point to add to your stuff. Real good. Real glad I used that up.
I'm sure it'll come in handy, don't you worry.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
But
so
Chrissy, you should still have yours.
Yeah. So I'll stay right where I'm at and I'll yell, why didn't the apple cross the road? 'Cause you didn't fucking cook it. All mean and nasty with like a hand in the air. I don't know. I'm really trying here.
I love that so much.
And I'm gonna cast Scorching Ray at 2nd level.
Yes, Scorching Ray.
We're gonna cook this bitch.
Yes, cook that apple. Get those flavors.
So that's 3 rays, so that's 3 attacks, right? Like 3d20s.
Just do it all in one. Just go for it.
Okay. So it's a 18 total.
Well, that definitely hits.
Okay. And 2d6 fire damage. So that is 9 total.
Excellent. You said this was. How did you want to flavor this ray here?
I would probably say it would be like as they're like little fireball shaped like apples just exploding into like puffs. You know what I mean? Like apple crispy looking.
Love it. They burn his skin and he roars in anger. And you smell putrid, awful, rotting flesh burn away. And slowly the fire actually catches him on one of his tendrils and it burns him up. And he burns away and disappears in a puff of smoke.
That, I bet you know how to make some money, Apple Crisp.
I'm just gonna finger guns.
Great. Love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn to Juke and stick my hand out for a handshake.
I'm gonna, as I'm shifting back into normal Juke size, shaking her hand. His hand, sorry.
As this monster gets whisked away, you notice in the corner, you didn't notice her before, is a woman tied up in the corner of the circle, on the side of the room.
Mel,
she says through a gagged mouth.
I'll go over and slice off a roast.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, I don't know what I would have done.
Mel, welcome to Flavor Town. And I'm gonna help her up and ask her if she's got this knife of berry.
the berry knife?
Yeah.
Yes.
The berry blade is right there. I think it's still by the altar at the center. And you learn around to find that it is placed in near the center of the circle, untouched.
Wait.
That feels like a trap.
Now Sal will go up and grab it.
Sal, you go up and grab it.
Coming up.
You have obtained the berry blade, and Quint, while you're over there untying, you notice that beside you is a lever that you would assume opens up the portcullis to the outside world.
Call me Crunk. I'll pull the lever.
You do. You hear the ratcheting sound of the portcullis raising. Mel turns to you and says, thank you so much. You have the goodwill of the Archmage Barathy. Thank you so much for saving me. And you have completed the Accursed Apple Twist one-shot. Thank you all so much for playing.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, yeah.
We are hopefully ending right on time. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope that you, the viewers, enjoyed it as well. I had to shorten it just a touch because I know we were trying to run in about 2 hours, so I think it still came off pretty well. Sorry about my little mishaps in Roll20, but, you know, it happens. Thank you for following, whoever just followed. Thank you so much. Why don't we all say goodbye in overlay order? And if you can be found online, or if you have any projects you want us to hear about, feel free to mention them, and I will give the closing remarks at the end.
I am Luke Locke, and today I played Sal Manella, a bard from the College of Flavor. And he was amazing, and I'm so sorry for everything.
Never apologize.
But I tried to stay true to his celebrity chef custom background traits. But to as far as where you can find me online, I am mostly on TPK, but I'm Lukalok everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, just everywhere. And then I also DM the Harper's Rotating One-Shot campaign that's every other Tuesday, but not this Tuesday, it's the next one. And you can find our schedule on our website, tpkroleplay.com.
Awesome.
Awesome. I am Malory. Again, I'm from Nick and I co-host the Hats Off to Bake Off Hot Bow podcast. And so today I played Paul Holly of the Wood, an Aarakocra cleric who did not get to use his baguette spiritual weapon, but I just want you to know that it was there so that you know. So yeah, if you want to give us a listen, I'm sure that Nick will share our podcast details later. Thank you so much, TPK, for having me.
We were glad to have you. Chrissy?
I am Chrissy, and I played Juke, a play off of Julia Childs and her little wild shape abilities. I want to thank everybody for being patient as I had a list of various famous chef quotes sitting in my lap, and I was struggling to get through some of them. So I hope you guys caught some of those. And as far as finding me around, you can find me in the TPK Discord. It's an awesome little community. I'm quoting, I think, the stream chat thing, but it is. And you can also find me on Instagram at innocent_bones. I do a lot of therapeutic gaming, so you can see me doing D&D to help people get better with their lives.
Awesome.
And I am Alt. You can find me here in TPK. I have no social media, so I have nothing like that to plug. But I will be playing in Morkborg. It's a indie tabletop RPG run by J.K. Madigan.
Correct.
Tomorrow on Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
Awesome. My name is Nick. I go by Proper Nerdy on the interwebs. As Malory said, I run the Hats Off to Bake Off amateur baking podcast. You can find us online at hotbowpod.com. That's the initials of our Hats Off to Bake Off. hotbopod.com or hatsofftobake-off.com. I hope you get a listen. I hope you enjoyed the rest of TPKCon. Please follow us. You can join our Discord if you like. It's a very fun, amazing community. I'm so happy to have been able to share my baking with y'all, and this wild one heck of a one-shot. So I appreciate you all immensely. I appreciate my players. It's been a lot of fun, and I did my first D&D stream with TPK Roleplay, so that's exciting. So we're going to be signing off, so have a lovely, lovely evening. Go and bake. If you bake something, maybe drop it in off topic, or tag us on Instagram or on Twitter. We would love to see your baking, and we're very excited to have you here. Mr. Rogers just cheered. I guess each player just takes a D4 of healing or a D4 of inspiration for your next bake, I guess. So have a lovely, lovely day and have a lovely night. And
thank you.
Bye.
Malory, do we want to do our normal sign off?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
You want to do it in time?
Yes.
It'll be great.
It'll never be in time, no.
If anyone wants to join, feel free. It's just what they say on Bake Off. On your marks.
Get set. Bake.